Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Crucible Chat. Yes, it's Saturday. It is that time of the week where I, Mike, otherwise known as the Gadget Addicts, can talk about whatever the hell it is I want. In the background, we have my Evolve beta gameplay because I want to talk about Evolve. And before we start, I have an apology to make. I was wrong. Yes, you heard that right. I was wrong. I'm not wrong very often, but when I am, I'll fully admit it. Now, I came into recording this Crucible chat fully in the mind that I was going to have a right good rant about Evolve, more precisely about its DLC. That's what I originally wanted to talk about, because there's been a lot made in the press about how Evolve is engineered for DLC and how there is XYZ amount, I think it works out nearly about 60 quid's worth of DLC available for the game. And I was ready to have a good rant about that, but then I started actually researching the issue, and I realised that it isn't anywhere near as bad as what people have been saying. Now, you've got to break it down. The marketing department for Evolve with Turtle Rock Games, they really fucked up with this. Because, if you look at it, there are three possible ways to buy the game. There is the standard edition for 45-50 quid. There is the digital special edition. So there's no box special edition as far as I can see. But there's the digital special edition, which is which I think it either has some hunter skins or I think it has the season pass actually. And then there is the PC Monster Race. It's a ridiculous name for something. The PC Monster Race edition, which has extra monsters, extra hunters. It's basically like the Ultimate Edition, but it's exclusive to the PC. So across those three editions, unless you're a PC player, you only get the option of two editions. But yeah, there is a myriad of ways to do it. Now, on top of that, people were kicking off because, well, I know on the Xbox Store, on the Xbox Live, there is something like 44 individual items you can buy for Evolve. On the PlayStation, there is something like 15 or 16, all varying in cost. And these range from player skins for each individual class. So, you know, for the different hunters, the four classes available, and then skins for the monsters. Which are separated by, I think they're actually separate. No, they are separated into the classes. So, you know, if you buy, I think there's a magma set or something like that, you get one for the Goliath, one for the Wraith, etc., 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 etc. And then you have the season pass for, I think in the UK it's £20 at the minute. Are you following? Because this is really fucking complicated. And then on top of that, so I mean with the season pass, you get 4 hunters and a load of exclusive skins. That's as far as I can see. The 4 hunters aren't out yet, so you have to wait for them to actually be released. And then they are going to be releasing more hunters and more monsters. So there's a total of 5 monsters available. Now, if you get the PC Monster Race Edition, you get those 2 extra ones in there rather than the standard 3. But for the rest of us plebs, the monsters are supposed to be released as DLC for, I think it's, well, I don't know what the UK prices are, but I know the American prices work out to something like $7 for hunters and $14.99 for monsters. I no idea who came up with that pricing structure, but anyway. So, yeah, I've spent 3.5 minutes now talking about the complicated nature of this DLC. But where am I wrong? Now, I'm wrong on the fact that I thought this was all a bad thing, that all this DLC was mandatory. But what you need to do is look past what's available to buy and look into what the into how the game actually works. Now, for a start, Turtle Rock have already said that there are more maps to come, and they're going to be released for free, so that they're not splitting the user base. Now, this is an issue that games like Call of Duty and games like Destiny have. I mean, for instance, with Destiny, I don't have the Dark Below expansion pack, which means I am missing out on, I think, about 5 multiplayer maps, a load of missions, a couple of strikes, and a raid. I'm missing out on that because I haven't bought that because I don't feel 20 quid is worth that. Now, what Turtle Rock are doing is they're releasing all maps for free, and challenges and perks and that kind of thing. They're all going to come out for free, so everybody gets them. So they're then taking it one step further, because you don't actually have to buy all the hunters and all the monsters. So you can go into a fight with someone who has unlocked the extra 2 monsters if you haven't, and you can fight those monsters. The only difference is you won't be able to play as those monsters. That's the only restriction if you don't buy them. But you can still go into a hunter team and fight them. And considering most people go into Evolve in groups, now when you're in groups, you unless you're in a group of 5, you're not allowed to actually pick to be the monster. If you're in a group of 4 or 3, you only get the option to be a hunter. So then that makes more sense. If you have a group of people who haven't bought the extra monsters when they come out, it doesn't matter because you can still fight the new monsters. And I think that's a great policy to have because what it's doing, it's making the DLC entirely optional. People aren't being forced to buy it to keep up with their mates. And I think that's admirable. For all that the marketing team fucked up, and for there is a lot of DLC, don't get me wrong, there is a lot of it, but the majority of it is skins. You know, it's stuff that makes no fucking difference. If you want the skin, great. You buy the skin, you spend your £3 or whatever on it. But you don't need it. And you don't need it to play the game, you don't need it to progress in the game. It is purely cosmetic. It's almost like free-to-play mechanics when they're done well. Because remember, free-to-play mechanics, and I've talked about this before, they work well if it's optional, if the game's progress doesn't hinge on you spending money in it. And that's what Evolve is doing. You're not having to spend money to keep up with everybody else, because everyone will get all the maps. So you'll not miss out in that respect. It's just basically down to your choice as to whether you want the extra 2 monsters or whether you want the extra 4, 8 or however many hunters there are going to be released. And it's admirable because that is the way it should be done in a multiplayer game like this. I mean, if you think on with the likes of Call of Duty, they release, 3 sets of map packs a year for each Call of Duty? And if you don't have them, you end up not being able to play in the maps with your friends if they have them. Or you're restricted to the 15 or so maps that the game comes with. So you are missing out automatically by not getting that. Because as well, once new map packs come out for games like Call of Duty, and the user base splits, it gets harder and harder to find a game on the maps that you have, because everyone's playing the new ones, or playing the new modes, or what have you. So, in this respect, I was all ready to boycott Evolve entirely, because of the policy on DLC, but the marketing department and the games press have fucked up here because they've constantly gone on about how much the DLC costs and how much of it there is. No one has ever actually said, but it's entirely optional. You know, it's not going to affect your enjoyment of the game by not buying this DLC, and that is the key issue here. The games press went ballistic with this. Turtle Rock and 2K's marketing teams really screwed the pooch we're talking about, and then you had the game's director coming out saying the game is engineered for DLC, and that quote was spanned right the way around the internet. And what he actually meant was not that the game is designed so that DLC will be constant. No, what he was talking about was when they made Left 4 Dead, they weren't able to put extra maps of characters into the game because they didn't consider the idea of DLC, because back when Left 4 Dead came out, DLC kinda wasn't a thing. I mean, the Xbox and the PlayStation had the options for it, but it really, really wasn't a thing. You know, we were still in the days of expansion packs rather than piecemeal DLC. So what he said there is, he said the game's engineered for it. As in, the game is engineered so that DLC can be a thing, so that you can download this extra content, but not that the game hinges on it. And that is the key thing to take away. It's a proper example of a really fucked up misquote. And I feel heartily sorry for the guy, because he's been pulled through the mire on forums by the public about saying stuff like that, and it's just like, well, no, that's not the case. You got it all wrong. All he's saying was they've put in a system which makes it easier for DLC to be integrated into the game seamlessly. You know, it's not a case of you're going to go in and you have to select a DLC map pack to play the games, or it's not like Call of Duty where you have to select Exo Zombies or something like that. You know, it integrates naturally into the game, into the matchmaking playlist. That said, me going on this little apology and clarification does not mean I'm going to be picking up Evolve. But there's a couple of reasons for that. One, most of the players that I know who play the game are actually on the Xbox, and I don't have an Xbox, I have a PS4. So the game is so hinged around teamwork, I don't really fancy going into matchmaking and having to scrabble around with people I don't know. Then on top of that, the matchmaking apparently is a real issue. People are sitting in matchmaking queues for ages waiting for a game. Hopefully though, I mean, that's something that Turtle Rock can fix, hopefully, with any luck. Although if they employ the people who did the Master Chief Collection to do it, that'll take forever. But anyway, yeah, so the matchmaking thing can be fixed eventually. But I think what I'm going to be waiting for is I will be getting an Xbox One at some point, and I'll get it for the Xbox One. And I'm hoping at some point there will be a Game of the Year edition, or at least some kind of upgrade, where I can buy it in the future and get a load more DLC without having to pay for it individually. Like I said, I'm not that bothered actually by the DLC now, because the maps are going to be free, and that's the thing I care about. And even the extra monsters, I'm not that bothered about. I wouldn't be spending 15 quid on the extra monsters, but at the end of the day, they are just, you know, I can still fight them, so that's all good. So yes, so this is my apologies. This is me confirming that I was wrong about something. But if you enjoyed it, well, let me know in the comments what you think about Evolve. Do you have the game? Do you play it? What do you make of the DLC? And let me know if you enjoyed this video. Please do leave a like and subscribe. Come back very shortly for the next video, and next week will be the next Crucible chat. So thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Good night.